Hello, everyone. We are going to take a little tour of Google Drive today. So for this course, I've tried to collect videos from lots of different sources, so you're not just listening to me all the time. But for this one, since it's really foundational, I wanted to go ahead and give you a tour of my Google Drive and just make sure that you're comfortable with how it's laid out. So here we go. When you open up Google Drive, we're going to do a tour of the options down the left-hand side, and then we're going to talk about some of the things that you're going to see across the top as well. So just starting from the top, so I'm at drive.google.com, and I've signed in with my CCS account. I'm actually signed into Chrome, so that signs me into Drive automatically, which is great. So let's talk about this new button. So the new button is going to be the first thing in the top left-hand corner, and when I click on new, here are my options. So I can create a new folder. You can see that that is one of the ways that I like to organize Drive. These are all my folders down here. I can upload a file, or I can upload an entire folder. So if you have content on your H drive, for example, that you want to transfer to Google Drive, so you have access to it from anywhere, you can upload entire folders at a time. From the new button, I have 3 of the different types of Google files. So I can create a Google Doc, Google Sheet, Google Slide. You'll notice that there's a little arrow hiding off here to the side. If I hover over that, now I have the option I can choose a blank Google Doc or from a template. There is a template gallery for docs, sheets, slides, and forms. You can start from something that's a little bit pre-built as opposed to starting from scratch. So that's a really nice feature. If I hover over more, you're going to see forms, drawings, My Maps, and sites. I have some other things that I've connected to Drive, so that's why they show up here. Your students are going to see all of this except for My Maps. Google My Maps is not part of the core suite of Google tools, and so students don't have access to this because it requires additional permissions. But everything else, docs, sheets, slides, forms, drawings, and sites, your students will have access to, and they can all be created from this new button in Drive. So then moving on down the side, we have My Drive. And if I click on this little triangle next to it, all of my files will expand. I can then expand those folders and drill down into content. This is really helpful when I get into Drive cleanup mode and I want to drag files into folders, because if I scroll down here, maybe you'll see I have a lot of individual files kind of hanging out down here at the bottom, and eventually I want to get them all into folders. So it's really easy, to click on a folder or click on a file and drag it into a folder over here on the side, as opposed to trying to drag it up to the folder that I have listed here. So that's My Drive. I have this option called shared drives, which you may or may not see. Shared drives are basically a special type of folder that doesn't have an individual owner. So when I create a folder in Drive, I'm the owner of that folder. I can share it with you and give you editing rights, but I remain the owner. And if my Google account were to be disabled, if I were to retire or leave Carmel Clay Schools, then that folder would eventually go away. Team drives or shared drives, excuse me, they were just renamed. Shared drives are different in that there is no one owner. You don't have the ability to create shared drives, but you may be invited to participate in them. So you may or may not see that. If you don't see it, no big deal. You may or may not see computers. I have a tool called Drive File Stream, and we'll touch on that later in this module, installed on my laptop, which allows me to access my Google Drive just like I would any other drive on the network. So H drive, shared drive, all of those things. So that's where computers comes in. So don't worry if you don't see that. The next thing is shared with me. I'm going to go ahead and click in here, even though I really, really, really don't like to, because shared with me is a hot mess, and there's really nothing you can do to organize it. You're going to have every file that has ever been shared with you. You're going to have things like this is a publicly available Google Doc that I clicked on doing a search, and that's why it's showing up in shared with me. If this is something that I know that I want to keep, and I want to be able to access it easily, I'm not going to leave it in shared with me. I'm actually going to move it into My Drive. So I can do that the same way I showed you earlier. You can click and drag and drop it into a folder, Or once I click on it, you'll notice that the bottom of the file sort of gets highlighted in this pale blue. So I can select this file, and then once it's selected, I have a whole bunch of other options up here. So this drive icon with the plus sign, if I click on that, it'll let me add it to my drive. And then it's going to give me this message. I can either undo that or I can organize it. I love, love, love this organize button. So I'm going to organize this and I'm going to pick a folder to put it into. So let's just go. I know I have a folder for G Suite here. So I select that folder. I could drill in and put it in a subfolder in G Suite too. So you can really customize where you put this folder. So I'm going to go ahead and pick G Suite and then move that folder there. And now I don't have to come in to Shared With Me to find that file. I can go into my G Suite folder and find it because it's just, ugh, yuck. It is messy. So I avoid Shared With Me as much as possible. Recent is really helpful. If you're working in Drive a lot, you'll find like, oh, I was editing that one thing last week that somebody shared with me, but I don't remember what it was called. So these are things that I have edited today, or, someone has edited that I'm the owner of today, and then I've got earlier this week, etc., and I can go back. So this is a helpful place. Starred is another feature that I try and use frequently. So I have some files here that I have starred, and all that means is, I can right click on a file and, if it wasn't already starred, it would say star here, or I can remove from starred. And that just means that it's basically like bookmarking documents. And you can see I can also bookmark folders. So I have some folders that are starred as well, just so they're a little bit more easy access. Some of these folders are like this 2018-19 one is in a subfolder and a subfolder and a subfolder, so it's a lot of clicks to get to. But I want to keep the organization that way, so I've starred it so it shows up here. And then we have trash. Trash is basically just a folder, and it is stuff that you have put into this trash folder. It will live here forever until you go in and delete forever. Now that delete forever comes with a caveat as well. If you delete an item forever and you submit a Kayako ticket and get in contact with us within 25 days, we can restore that. After 25 days, it truly is gone forever. So just FYI, a good thing to share with your students that even though they delete something forever, or maybe they leave their computer open and a friend goes and deletes something forever, we can restore it within that 25 days. So that's your trash folder. Underneath that, you'll see your storage listed. Your G Suite for Education account, which is what your CCS Google account is, has unlimited storage. So you don't really need to worry about what this number says. The other thing about storage is that Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides don't count towards your storage total. Your storage is only taken up with things like PDFs, image files, Word docs, Excel spreadsheets, etc. So just if you want to know how much storage space you're using, you can click on this and it will tell you. Let's go back to my drive and let's talk about some of the things up here. There is a section in this module on search, but the search tool in Drive is extremely powerful and I use it about 50-50. Whether I'm going to find something that I need in the folder or I'm going to find something by searching. So lots and lots of great features in here. You have your support link up at the top if you need help. And this little gear is for your settings. There is a setting that I want to show you. So I'm going to click on the gear and go to settings. And it's this one. It's the convert upload setting. So I have mine set when I upload a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, a PowerPoint, it's going to convert it to the Google Docs version of that automatically. So it's going to make my Word doc a Google Doc, my Excel spreadsheet a Google Sheet, my PowerPoint a Google Slides. You can uncheck this, and then when you upload a Word doc, etc., it's going to remain as a Word document. So be aware before you start uploading a bunch of files, be sure to go in to the gear, go to settings, and check to see how this is set. You have your apps picker here, just like when you open up a new tab, so if you need to jump into something else from Google. This is an extension called G Suite Training, and we'll talk about this in the apps and extensions. This is a great extension to install because it basically is an entire help website built into Google Drive, and this will show up in all of the individual tools as well. So you can search it for questions. Some, like these videos, will actually take over your screen and kind of highlight areas and help you navigate. Incredibly helpful. So then we have a couple more things. This icon basically lets me switch the view of Google Drive. So right now I'm in grid view, so I can see a little box for each of my folders, and I get a little preview of all of my individual documents when I am in grid view. But if you like list view, you do get a little bit more information about your files, because I'm going to see who the owner is and when it was last modified and if it's taking up any space file-wise. So I will switch back and forth occasionally. Most of the time I leave it on grid view. That's just what I prefer. Totally up to you. Next to that is the information icon, or this view details. So you click on view details, and here are some just generic things about my Google Drive account in general. So I can see activity, what's happened. If I click on, let's find a specific file down here somewhere. Sure, this one. So this is a Google site, and you can see in the details it is, I'm the owner, and if it was shared with additional editors, I would see those here. So some information about it, when it was created, what folder it's in, and then if I go to the activity tab, I can see, you know, when it was last edited. Now this was a Google site that I converted from Classic Site, so I haven't really done anything with it in my drive yet. Okay, let's pick this file. So here's some additional activity, well, not much. So I created and shared an item, and I edited an item. Here are the details. So here's where you can see I shared this so that anyone at Carmel Clay Schools with the link can view. So that information panel can be really helpful. Sometimes it takes up a lot of screen real estate though, so you can turn it off and then just turn it back on when you need it. So we looked at, let's just pick this file since it's up at the top. When you select a file, you do have all of these options that show up here. So the link will let you get a shareable link to the document. The person with the plus side will allow you to share this particular file. So it'll pull up the shared box. Preview lets me preview a file without opening it fully. So it'll pull it up and then you can see how detailed this particular file is. And then you can use the arrows to go back and forth, and you can preview a whole bunch of files within a folder, let's say. If you needed to send it to your trash folder, you can remove it. And then of course you have the magical 3-dot menu that gives you a whole bunch of other options. So you can add it to starred, view details, make a copy, download, etc. All kinds of things within these magical 3-dot menus. One more thing I want to show you while I'm here. You may have noticed that my folders are colored, and I do that just because I like it and it makes me happy. The colors don't have any meaning, but you could obviously label them. So if I right click on that folder, I can change the color. And then this feature I really like too. You can search within a folder. That is a newish feature to Google search, and I find it to be really, really helpful. So when you're looking at your Google Drive, hopefully that gives you a nice overview of some of the things that you can do and helps you get more comfortable with the landscape.